Goodbye, Raging Bolt. What is going on, YouTube? Espresso Shucko here, and today we're hitting the Regulation F ranked ladder with this Registeel and Urshifu team. And I know what you're thinking. Yes, we have a lot of heavy hitters on this team. We have Urshifu-Rapid Strike, we have Ogerpon, we even have Registeel. All of these Pokemon can do massive amounts of damage. We have the Iron Defense Body Press on the Registeel because why wouldn't you run that on a Registeel? You got that base 150 defense that's just going up 2 stages each time you go for an Iron Defense. Body Press just hurts. We have Heavy Slam on it to deal with Flutter Mains because, you know, even though Registeel's physical attack stat is non-existent, it's a heavy boy, which means that Flutter Main is just not going to appreciate that raw steel damage coming its way unless it goes Terra Water or has defense investment, but that's beside the point. As far as the Urshifu goes, I hope you guys noticed the disgusting little bit of tech on it, and that is called Swords Dance. So we are going to boost up our attack 2 stages with Swords Dance, and then we're going to spam Surging Strikes or Close Combat, and we have Detect to help keep Urshifu around so long as it's not an opposing Urshifu on the field. My main idea here was originally we were going to go with Trail Plays to get a speed boost, but where's the fun in that when you can just have Tornadus go for a Tailwind and then Urshifu go for that Swords Dance? It's a little bit of a difficult thing to set up sometimes given the situation, which is why we do have Follow Me on the Ogerpon to try to help bring that out for Urshifu. But if we don't get the Swords Dance, we don't get the Swords Dance. Surging Strikes is guaranteed to land a critical hit. Terra Water doubles our base power of water type attacks, so Surging Strikes is already going to be disgusting to begin with. Then we have Ogerpon here with the fire type Ivy Cudgel to deal with pesky things like Amoonguss and Rillaboom that aren't running either Terra Water or Terra Fire. Anything that doesn't resist fire just does not appreciate the Fire Cudgel. And then we have Horn Leech to get back some HP. We have Spiky Shield to also protect Ogerpon and try to get a little bit of chip damage into our opponents if they're going for physical moves. We have Farigiraf here with Throat Spray, Hyper Voice, Dazzling Gleam, and Psychic Noise. I might have taken a little bit of inspiration from the Charlotte Regionals from watching Wolf Glick with his Farigiraf. Now, my Farigiraf does have Psychic Noise here because the one thing that I thought would be kind of cool to try out is you see Pokemon that get HP back through attacks like Giga Drain and Drain Punch. Well, if you hit them with a Psychic Noise, apparently the move just doesn't go off and do damage at all, which that's really tempting. It's also a sound move, so instead of having to rely on strictly Hyper Voice, we have that Psychic Noise to also activate our Throat Spray. We can go Terra Fairy and go Dazzling Gleam if we need to, which not a lot of things appreciate a +1 Dazzling Gleam off of Farigiraf. And plus, we also have Trick Room here if we run into a team that's significantly faster than us. We do have that as a backup plan. We do have Tailwind on Tornadus, so we can go fast or slow depending on what we want to do. We could even technically bring both Torn and Farigiraf. This Farigiraf isn't 0 speed as far as the IVs go, so we could always go for a Tailwind and try to get the jump on some slower, more Trick Room oriented Pokemon outside of Trick Room if we wanted to. That is a backup plan for Farigiraf if we need it. And then finally we have Rillaboom with an Assault Vest. We have Grassy Glide, Fake Out, Knockoff, and High Horsepower. The Fake Out here should help either Urshifu or Registeel set up, or if not, it could always prevent our opponents from trying to set up in front of us, or we can just shut down one of the Pokemon. It'll be a good time. And plus we have Knockoff to remove some items, High Horsepower for some broad damage into Incineroars, otherwise my Rillaboom will be absolutely walled by an Incineroar. And then we have Grassy Glide to just pick off things while the Grassy Terrain is still up. So anyways, let's jump on into the video. Okay, my opponent here, ooh, they have an opposing Registeel. Nice! So they got Pelipper, Kingdra, Registeel, Thundurus, Therian, Incineroar, and Rillaboom. Alright, so we gotta do something about that Registeel before it sets up. Otherwise, that could be a huge problem. Luckily, I have an Urshifu. We can land critical hits. That's going to be relatively nice at the end of the day. I don't like Incineroar switching in on it, but what we could do is we could go Tornadus, Urshifu. If they go Rillaboom, that could be a little bit of a problem. Maybe what we'll do is we'll go Tornadus, Ogerpon, and then that way we can get a an Ivy Cudgel off into the Rillaboom if we need to. If they lead Pelipper, Ogerpon's in a little bit of a problematic state. I kind of want to bring my own Registeel. And Urshifu does not look bad here. Yeah, Urshifu doesn't look too bad here because of the body press. That would do some big damage. Did I say Urshifu or did I say Registeel? Anyway, I think I said Urshifu instead of Rillaboom, but anyways, I do like Urshifu as well. Let's try this out. Let's try this out and see how it goes. We do have Sword Stance on the Urshifu, so if we get into a weird dynamic where my opponent has the Registeel just setting up with Iron Defense, I could pop a Sword Stance, probably go Terra Water and see if I can crack through it that way. We might be able to get around that. It's going to be Pelipper and Kingdra, so Ogerpon is going to be in for a bit of a bad time here. But we can try to whittle down the Kingdra with a Horn Leech. Pelipper does get Wide Guard, so I do have to be careful that way. So we'll see if they... I'm assuming they have the Wide Guard, but I want to get this Tailwind off first. And then that way, if I can get some big damage off into the Kingdra with the Horn Leech. I'm definitely expecting a Hurricane out of the Kingdra into Ogerpon. I mean, Ogerpon's Terra Fire, so my opponent's probably going to be looking to take advantage of the fact that ID Cudgel is weakened. So what could be really bad, too, is if they just switch Incineroar in for Pelipper. But we'll get our Tailwind, and now hopefully this means Kingdra is no longer the fastest thing on the field. Unless that's what Pelipper went for. But anyways, that's good damage off into the Kingdra. Draco Meteor right out of the gate. Alright. Whew. Okay. They left me with 1 HP. Their Life Orb. That's good to know. No Scope Lens. There's the Hurricane. Oof. Pelipper got rid of Ogerpon. That's a little scary. But that's alright. We'll bring in the Registeel. We'll try to get the Body Press ready to go. I'm gonna go with a Bleak Wind Storm here. See if we can get rid of Kingdra. Yeah. Pelipper doesn't care too much about Registeel's Body Press, so we will have to be a little bit weary of that. Now, Rain's gonna be on the field for a while, so Urshifu at least does have a good power upgrade right there. So if we can get rid of Pelipper, we should be okay. Well, actually, if we can get rid of Pelipper and Kingdra. Because right now they have the speed in their favor. They're withdrawing Kingdra. Great. Okay. Who's coming in? Oh, their own Registeel. Alright. So, we're going to get the Bleak Wind Storm off into the Pelipper, which is great. They're going to take a speed drop. We got our Iron Defense. I don't dislike this for Urshifu. Tornadus dodged the Muddy Water. That's great. Alright. So, we'll get a little bit of a Leftovers boost. Now, my Registeel is going to be faster than theirs, so it might not be a bad thing to go for a Body Press into them. Yeah, it might not be too bad right there. We have at least 3 turns of Rain left. How many turns of Tailwind do I have? I got 2 more. Okay. So, I'm going to protect Torn this turn, and I'm going to Body Press into the Pelipper. This should be enough to pick up Pelipper, and then that way, if the Rain is gone, we don't have to worry about Kingdra and speed. There's the Wide Guard, so they were anticipating the Bleak Wind. That's great, because I want to go for a Bleak Wind next turn if Kingdra does come in. So, we'll get rid of Pelipper. We can try to set up with Registeel again next turn. They went for the Body Press into Torn, so that's great. We don't have to worry too much about that. They didn't set up an Iron Defense. So, a Body Press into their Registeel might not be bad. But, like I said, I do have the Urshifu, so the nice thing here is I could just try to get around that with... or I could try to get around Registeel with my Urshifu here. There's the Kingdra. Alright. So, I think we Bleak Wind, and I think we go for another Iron Defense to try to get ahead of this. They don't have any defense boosts in them yet, so a +4 body press into Registeel might not be terrible. And if they just go straight body press into me, great. Okay, Kingra's going for protect. Alright, so Registeel's probably going to try to pick off Torn, which means mine should be in a somewhat decent position. So now if they just went Iron Defense, great. I get to keep my Registeel and I can reset my Tailwind, which will be huge for Urshifu. Okay, great. I'm gonna get to keep my Torn. They're at +2. I'm at +4. Mine's a little bit faster, so we're getting our leftovers recovery. And the other thing too is this Registeel that I'm running is technically not the optimal one because it is not a 0 speed IV'd one. So we could be okay here. I don't mind going for the Tailwind and trying to just get rid of Kingdra with a body press. So I think that's what I want to do. And then that way I can always go for the Terra Water Surging Strikes. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Alright. It's Kingdra. Ah, it's Terra Water. Okay. I'm okay with this. Yeah. Now, they do have a Rain Boost. So my Registeel might be in a little bit of trouble here. Okay, it's Muddy Water. They're going to hit Torn. The nice thing here is Clear Body means I don't have to worry about an accuracy drop off my Registeel. So we're going to try to get rid of their Kingdra. And we'll try to take advantage of the fact there's still rain on the field and go for the Surging Strikes into their Registeel. And depending on what their last Pokemon is, we could be looking at a potential Sword Stance setup for Urshifu for the late game. So, rain stopped. Alright. So, we did only have the 5 turns of that. We do have Tailwind still, which is nice. So, popping Terra Water on Urshifu might not be bad depending on what their last Pokemon is. Is it Incineroar, though? That's the other question. It is Incineroar. Okay. So, I don't dislike the idea of going Detect on Urshifu, popping Terra Water into my Registeel in case a Body Press comes my way, and going Body Press into Incineroar. The nice thing here is you're probably going for the Fake Out into the Urshifu slot, because the Urshifu slot is going to be threatening that Registeel with the Surging Strikes. So, I go Terra Water on my Registeel. I'm at +4 defense. They're at +4 defense themselves, so our body presses should cancel each other out, and I'm going to lose my weakness to that. So, in theory, Registeel should be safe. That's the big thing, though. In theory, Registeel should be safe here. So, we'll see how it goes. Now, if I'm completely wrong and they fake out the Registeel, I'm going to be in for a bad time. But, nope. Nope, we're good. We're good. We're going to body press this Incineroar. We're at +4 defense, so that's nice. Okay. So now it's just going to boil down to body press versus body press. And they just got their Iron Defense. Great. They're at +6. So, I really like the idea of going for a Sword Stance with my Urshifu. And trying to get some attack investment into it before we go for the Surging Strikes. And we're gonna try to get another Body Press off into my Registeel, and then that way we're gonna be balanced out. The big question is how much damage can I do to them with a Body Press at +6 defense. The nice thing here is they're not doing that much to me because we do have the Terra Water active. So we're going to go for the Surging Strikes, which is going to ignore their defense boosts, and we're going to go for a Body Press of our own. So That's nice damage right there. So that's about a quarter. So a little bit less than half. I'm very okay with that. And we almost got them with our own Registeel, so... Whew, okay, Urshifu. Urshifu held in there, which is good. I mean, I don't know why I'm surprised. I'm the one that put the focus sash on it, but... Anyways. The fact that that HP bar just dropped so much, a little spooky, but we do have the +1 attack, which is working in our favor. Yeah, so we got the Surging Strikes there, and my opponent does forfeit. The writing was on the wall. Anyways, good game to my opponent. Okay, my opponent here has Incineroar, Raging Bolt, Metagross, Amoonguss, Rillaboom, and Urshifu. Alright, so if that's Urshifu-Rapid Strike, Farigiraf is going to have a decent time. If it's not Rapid Strike and it is Single Strike, Farigiraf is still probably going to have an okay time because we have the Dazzling Gleam and Terra Fairy. So I do like that. We do have the, not the Propeller Tail, the Armor Tail. I'm thinking of Barraskewda. We have the Armor Tail on Farigiraf, so we don't have to worry too much about Rillaboom. Now, the main question here is how do we get around the Metagross and the Raging Bolt? So, Ogerpon does look really tempting to deal with the Metagross and the Amoonguss. Actually, Ogerpon looks extremely good here. So, I think we're going to go Ogerpon and maybe Rillaboom. Maybe. I do kind of like the idea of leading Farigiraf and then they can't fake out Ogerpon. So, we could do that. And then the nice thing here, too, is we don't have to worry about Thunderclap. Registeel might be good in the back, and I do like Urshifu. Yeah, I do like the Urshifu here, so I think that's what we're going to go with. So, if they intimidate Ogerpon, not the end of the world. I always have the option of turning on Embody Aspect by Terastallizing and getting that +1 attack to go back up the neutral, but I'd rather not if I didn't have to. So it's going to be Incineroar, Raging Bolt. Great. We have Farigiraf, so we don't have to worry about Thunderclap. I kind of want to go for the Trick Room here. I kind of want to do that, and I kind of like the idea of going for a Dazzling Gleam. Ogerpon's not doing anything to that Raging Bolt as well, so maybe we'll just bring in... I think we'll bring in Registeel, and I think we're going to set the Trick Room. Because Registeel under Trick Room is going to be incredibly scary. And plus, depending on the IVs and EVs into this Raging Bolt, a +2 Body Press does a good amount to Raging Bolt. Raging Bolt does not appreciate a Body Press off of Registeel. Neither does Incineroar, for that matter, so... We could always potentially go for a, Oh. Okay. I'll take that. They're going for a Calm Mind. Not ideal. But I can always go for a Dazzling Gleam if I need to. We have our Trick Room now. I do like the idea of going for an Iron Defense, and I'm going to Hyper Voice this turn first and then get my Throat Spray, and then I can go for the Dazzling Gleam. And plus, my opponent just might not think I have the Dazzling Gleam, which could be nice. Alright, there's a Helping Hand. Who's taken what, per se? We can always go for the Body Press into the Incineroar now. Farigiraf is still slower than the Raging Bolt, so we are going to outspeed it and get a little bit of chip into it first. That Calm Mind boost did not do anything to help me out. Whew, okay. That was a lot of damage. Now, keep in mind that was a Helping Hand boosted amount of damage, but they left Registeel alone there. Let's see. I kind of want to preserve my Terra, but we are going to go for the Razzle Dazzle. We now have the +1 boost, so we do have that. We'll get our Iron Defense off. I really want to get rid of that Incineroar before Ogerpon comes back in, so... Oh, okay. I will gladly take that parting shot, and good to know that Clear Body just stops it from happening. I figured they would have at least gotten the switch, but yeah, okay. I'm fine with that. We now have a +4 defense Registeel, but now they can hit me with priority or with Thunderclap, which is a bit intimidating. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna try to body press, and you know what? We're gonna Sword Stance because I think they're gonna try to Thunderclap my Urshifu. I'm gonna go for the Sword Stance, and I'm gonna protect Urshifu the following turn. Now they could just go for a straight Thunderbolt, and if they do that, that's bad for me. But I don't think they think Registeel is going to attack this turn. I think they're going to try to go for the Urshifu. Okay, they're going to switch out the Incineroar. That's fine. They got their own Rapid Strike. There's the Thunderclap into my Urshifu. Nice. Goodbye, Raging Bolt. I don't have to worry about you now. That is very, very nice. And hello, Sword Stance. Yeah, I'm doing that. Now, Incineroar can come in and just intimidate that down to a +1, but that's still a +1. Now, here's the one thing that's a little bit concerning. They can just double into my Urshifu and break my Focus Sash with the Fake Out. So, I might have to rely on Ogerpon here. How many turns of Trick Room do we have? This is the last turn of Trick Room. So, while the going is good, I think what we're going to do here, I think we're going to pop the Terra Water. And we're going to Body Press the Urshifu. And we're going to try to Surging Strikes. Now, what I think is going to happen is they go for my Urshifu and double into it with a Fake Out. Now, if I get lucky and they Fake Out the Registeel, great. That means my Urshifu has a chance of surviving, and that Incineroar has a very good chance of going down. So, oh, okay. Okay. Goodbye, Incineroar. Goodbye. So this does leave Ogerpon with a nice chance of going in for a Horn Leech onto their Urshifu. Or a Spiky... Well, no, Spiky Shield won't work because of an Unseen Fist. But that's fine. We're going to resist the Surging Strikes. And this is part of the reason why I wanted to go to the Terra Water. Because I was worried about Surging Strikes just bypassing my defense boosts. So that does nothing. We're going to get some Leftovers recovery. Trick Room is done. So now my Urshifu is free to threaten my opponent. The Raging Bolt is gone, which means I don't have to worry about Thunderclap. Now, I do have to worry about the speed EVs on their Urshifu. I do have to worry about that. That said, they cannot protect in front of me. And my opponent forfeits. Great. Okay. I kind of wanted to go for that body press there, but hey, I am very happy with how Registeel played out in that, and we only got to see the +1 Urshifu there, but the Sword Stance was nice to get around the Thunderclap. Now, I could have gone for Detect to do that, but we made the bold play and we were rewarded for it, so I'm very happy with how that played out. Good game to my opponent. Hey, thank you guys so much for checking out this Registeel team in action. We got the showdown of the centuries in Game 1, Registeel versus Registeel. My Registeel just absolutely showed them who's boss because Terra Water Body Press is going to hurt a lot more than Terra Steel Body Press. But jokes aside, I'm really glad that I got the Sword Stance off with my Urshifu in that first game. Otherwise, we would have probably been there for a little while. My Registeel was a bit more worn down than theirs. So the fact that we had the Sword Stance and Surging Strikes help wear down their Registeel by ignoring their defense boosts was absolutely huge. And plus, going Terra Water with Registeel here made sure that we were no longer weak to Body Press. So my Registeel just sealed the deal and just took way too much of their HP for them to like. I still had Urshifu on the field. My opponent saw the writing on the wall, so they did forfeit. And then as far as game 2 went, we had Registeel versus Urshifu and Raging Bolt, and man, my Urshifu is on a roll today with getting that Sword Stance, and honestly, going for that Sword Stance is how we got around the Thunderclap. We could have technically gone for a Detect, but the nice thing here was we got up to +2. They switched out Incineroar, and they just were not expecting the Registeel to come a-flying, and we got that body press, that +4 body press off into the Raging Bolt, which is just absolutely huge. Now, interestingly enough, because I didn't know the dynamic there, was that Parting Shot just absolutely just doesn't work on Clear Body, which is great. Now, I figured they wouldn't have gotten the stat drops, would have still switched out, but that's good to know that Clear Body is a nice little safe means of getting around Parting Shots switching as well, which meant that they had to manually reset their fake out with the Incineroar. And then that last little bit of the end game here, we popped the Terra Water on Registeel, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Pop that Terra Water, that Raging Bolt was gone, and then these Surging Strikes just did absolutely nothing to us. And then our Urshifu just picked off their Incineroar, which meant we were in a very comfortable position here. Now, the team does have a few flaws. One, you got to get Registeel set up, and two, just there's a lot more faster Pokemon out there that don't necessarily need Tailwind booster energy. So you do have to be careful when playing around with something like this. You definitely need to keep your speed control in mind with either the Tailwind or the Trick Room modes. So that was definitely something nice here. We did play Trick Room in game 2 with the Farigiraf, and then in game 1 we heavily had to rely on the Tailwind because of that Kingdra. So the team definitely isn't perfect by any means, but I had a lot of fun playing with it. I hope you guys had a lot of fun watching it. I will see you next time.